Welcome here, everyone. We're excited to be here for some amazing Rocket League action. We are headed over to the HSEL East activation here. Going to be enjoying ourselves because, man, it is the start of the seasons for both high school and college. High school here is going to be very, very entertaining. Of course, we had two fantastic teams joining us here today. It's going to be Swamp Fox Gaming versus RCS Explorers. Man, that is a mouthful. And my name is Orbital. With me is Relic. We'll be enjoying ourselves in a best of 5. Relic, how you doing today?
Doing really good. I always seem to find my way back to these high school esports league matches. Somehow, somewhere, whether it's all season or just for the 1 week as it seems today. But there's one thing that I absolutely love about this particular level of Rocket League. It's chaos. It's chaos incarnate. We have teams of 6 that have somehow got to compress down into a team of 3 going onto the field. Sometimes we've got a trio that just completely dominate all their opposition. We're not entirely sure of what we're expecting today, though, Orbital, but that is half the fun of it.
Yes, it is. Enjoying ourselves. And I mean, we heard that the teams are ready to go as well. So just as chaotic as it's going to be, they're starting with the ignition strong, going 60, 70 miles an hour very, very quickly. And I'm sure that they have a lot of goals to score. Wow, that is, again, all the words are jumbling up here today. But as we said, it is going to be very entertaining. And I think one of the things that I like to kind of think about is, are we going to see the teamwork come out here? In your experience, Relic, are we going to see, glimmers here? Or is high school also starting to ramp up to that level of we start to see the team coordination come out? We start to see those team plays to the level of maybe collegiate or even intro into higher levels above?
Well, I think the first call of order should be for us to go to the dentist to put our teeth in.
Yes.
The second call of order, though, should be to tackle this very point. And I think it's a great point to bring up because half of the successful teams, I would suggest, in both high school and collegiate level, they find a lot of success through adaptation through series. Now, we talk about adaptation through series at even the highest levels of Rocket League at RLCS. In fact, it's more said that if you don't adapt during a series, you're often going to find yourself on the other end, the bad end, of a sweep. So a lot of the time it's about everybody in the background, those folks behind the kids, whether it's fellow students or whether it's specific coaches, captains, teachers, or whatever, just giving them the encouragement and looking out for those things that they can't quite see just yet as they're tunnel focused in on trying to do a good job and saying, okay, in between games, this is what we're going to address. And like I say, that generally gives people a really nice platform, at least to make the series competitive.
Well, that's awesome to hear, and I think it also, in those spaces as well, you also start looking for that one player that really kickstarts it as well. As much as we want to talk about the start of the teamwork, the adaptations, there's always that one player that seems to step up, not just in the series, but the game itself. Do you expect to see that at a high school level? And if so, where does that shine? Is it in the control, maybe over the field, getting those bumps or setting themselves up for success off of a play? Or is it primarily just one player like, all right, I'm going to go ham, I'm going to go 100-0, and I will just, there are no teammates. It's literally just me here.
Some of these kids, mate, they got ego and they have got confidence, which I could only hope to ever have at another point in my life. It's the naivete of youth. And it does work, especially at this level, to a certain extent. And a lot of the time it comes down to the level of your opposition more than it does the level of the teammates who you are working with. Let's say, for example, just theorycraft for a little bit. We have 2 diamonds and they're joined by an SSL. You, as a team, have to understand that you want to feed the supersonic legend the ball all the time. Because mechanics, aerial prowess, the ability to shot call and say, hey, let's move up the pitch now. I'm feeling confident here. I think we can get a goal. That can be the difference between winning or losing, especially with such a huge deficit in between those ranks. However, for those teams where the situation's a little bit closer, synergy, Orbital. Everybody has to be talking. Otherwise, the miscommunication, the lack of communication can lead to a very leaky defense. And that's the one thing which I believe that we will be guaranteed, at least in this series, lots and lots of goals.
That excites me a lot because I love goals. I love seeing teams rack it up. I think seeing, 7 or 8 total is great. And then higher above, right? Get the double digits. Have fun with it. The question then becomes, how quickly does that all kind of collapse or build up within? Because a lot of the times we see it per game, right? Game 1, hey, test the limits. You see, hey, how do they want to play? is that standard, or do you also hope to see in the high school league adjustments within that game itself, maybe within 2 or 3 minutes of seeing some of these strategies come out? Or is it still going to be that fundamental game by game, as we are going to get into game number 1 here?
Well, game 1 is always the anomaly. Always the anomaly. Nothing anomalous about this shot, though. On target, nobody there to save it. Of course, it was going to go across the line and provide us with our first. But yeah, it's all about how you react to situations, whether you get blown out in game number 1 or whether it's a testy 1-0 slender win. It's how you react from there on out for each 5-minute period that truly makes the best of these rosters.
So good. And of course, RCHS in that orange is going to be starting things off. You saw in a very quick goal within 20 seconds, I believe. And now it's all about that control game. Anomalies also can't just be seen as that, right? An anomaly, hey, we went ahead, let it go. That's okay. We can still bounce back here. But for right now, the aggression from RCHS is looking just a wee bit stronger, as challenging for that ball in the corner. SFG having a little bit of trouble getting control over this one.
Gosh, that is a vehicle which I haven't seen in a long time. I don't believe it. It's the Proteus. Oh. I don't believe it. It's the Proteus. For those, everybody else out there, no idea. Like, wait a second, he predicted the Proteus. Yeah, I predicted the Proteus, but I predicted the Proteus on the team to lose. It seems like Radial Lamb is looking to prove otherwise. And for the first time, we started to see Swamp Fox string together some passes. A bit of sustained pressure here on the orange side of the field. But so far, so good. The defense holds.
They held very strong, and I mean, the question is, can they bounce back out of it, right? You can defend for so long, but unfortunately, to score a goal, you really do have to be on that offense. Ball goes up in the air, falls down, all right, in center stage, a miss by Fnatic, and now a possible chance, but ball bounces once again, so RCHS still challenging in the middle of the field. Superior looking to try and reposition right now with the rest of the team.
The joy of high school is that a lot of these folks haven't figured out what their online alias is going to be, so very long usernames. Case in point, but Superior, very much the superior being on display. A fantastic win here from Fnatic. The second touch crucial, setting up Superior for the tap-in 2-0 lead. And Swamp Fox Gaming, that's a real shame, because I would argue that comes off their best period in the game thus far.
Very tactical defense, being able to hold strong, just letting it slip by, and now it looks like they will have a singular chance, but RCHS making sure that they are bumped out of defensive straight, not able to control, and because of that, they are now once again immediately on the defensive, rolling it just past their goal. D-Nod, I believe, is going to try and hang on to it on their own on the left side. Real sorry, not gonna happen.
Up in the air, loitering. Nobody willing to go for it until now. But it wasn't exactly a progressive pass forward, and that challenge is rode well. The backflip, and Fnatic able to give a little bit of breathing room to his two teammates who still hold on to that 2-0 lead, but a lovely picked pocket here in the midfield. Ooh. The first real opportunity to strike for the Swamp Foxes, and it's TNT Chicken with the kaboom.
Oh man, they needed an opportunity. It just kind of rolled into their grasp. Look at that. No one in the goal. A chase on the backside, but very well done. That is going to be Swamp Fox Gaming going ahead, keeping it within 1 with half of the game to go. The Seals a much better kickoff, leaning towards the way of RCHS as they gain control of the ball and look to kind of reposition, get themselves in a balanced state.
It's those breakaway moments that have got to count, and that one goal can be such a confidence booster at this level, where we're going to see more mistakes than successful passes or successful shots on target. They can add up, and that can lead to a rather sinking feeling in the comms, but so far so good, I would argue, for both teams, and it's lovely to see the Swamp Foxes get back into it to snatch that chance away, and TNT Chicken with a big responsibility. He does well with it, mind you. That was a good shot. Here comes a second one over the top of the defense, and Radial Lamb. There was nothing bad about that one.
So good, cooking it up, got the chops. Look at that, just a beauty of a zinger straight to that center. Fnatic just watching off on the side, and RCHS pull ahead now with 2 minutes left. It feels much better. You get to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, and you can actually see on both sides, Swamp Fox as well as RCS Explorers, that you can see the setups, right? You can see them trying to set up these plays, and that's why we're seeing kind of these stall outs, I want to say, in the middle of the pitch, middle of the field, and hey, I want to try and set this one up. I want to try and bounce it and keep it in our possession, and sometimes you just got to say, all right, screw all that. Just go for the shot if you have it. Go for that dribble or any opportunity.
It's good to make the keeper work, and I think that from the midfield line, you can certainly do a lot against defenses such as the levelers which we're seeing here. And for the RCS Explorers, they have had a real good clampdown on both middle 100 boosts. It limits what Swamp Foxes can do as they look to put together attack drives of their own, and those attack drives very quickly come to a close because most of the time that RCS defense is pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look and they have defended for how long the Explorers have been aggressing. The fact that they're limited 2-3, I think, says something. But however, moving into this final minute here, game number 1 feeling better and better. A little bit of a fallback. Radio Lamb looking to give the ball over to a teammate and try and ensure that they have control off the left side here. They're going to try and run it back down. Long ball streaking towards that corner. A pickup in the middle if possible. It's a little bit of balance. Gets past the defenders, but hits the goal post. Very, very scary. Calling from the air. Just misses. SFG keeping it out of the hands just by hair's breadth.
Yeah, not seeing much in the form of backboard defense as evidenced there to go for it, to miss it, and that is buying crucial time for RCS with a 2-goal advantage. The Swamp Foxes need to score, and they need to score pretty sharpishly. Ooh. Now's a really good time. Oh no! Oh, yes! Close one.
We rode that wave as it went down to a dip pretty quickly. Look at that near miss, and then the follow-up from behind. I love it. We went up and down there, and I can appreciate that one. Well done. Right now, Swamp Foxes have a singular chance. They got 8 seconds to try and get another goal to send us into OT if possible. Bounces off the wall, 5 seconds under the clock. Right now, they got to keep it up in the air, and right now, Fnatic feeling a little bit better. Touches the ground, and that is going to be it. RCS Explorers go ahead and take game number 1.
Lots of goals. Check. 5. Close scoreline. 1-goal game. Check. And genuine progression throughout said game for all 6 players on the pitch. Check. Welcome to High School Esports League. If this is your first time, really impressed with all the players who went out there, even those who weren't getting involved with the ball and dribble plays as much as they would have liked, such as Superior, such as TNT Chicken, both of them grabbing a goal apiece. And at the end of the day, as I mentioned previously, it's down to those mistakes more accumulating for the Swamp Foxes than we see from the RCS Explorers, and certainly the shot count better favors them, but it's only 5 on target against 3. Lots of this series still to go, Orbital.
Of course, there's so much to be played here, and not just that, we got to give a hearty congratulations to Swamp Fox's defense. The amount of time that we're sitting there watching the Explorers just hard aggress continuously. I think there was a full minute and a half where we just saw attacks the entire way through and never went past the midfield line. The fact that they kept them at that time to a 3-1 score is crazy to me. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can barely maintain and only allow 1 goal a minute or something like that. It was very impressive. Again, the coordination to ensure that you didn't have to worry that much feels so good. Now taking a look, getting into game number 2, RCS Explorers up 1 to get a second on the board.
They've lost their first game, Swamp Foxes. I would argue, even at this stage, pivotal that they get a good start in game number 2. Give themselves a lead to work with, and then hopefully transform that into a first point on the series scoreline. Otherwise, if we do see this match go the other way, Orbital, all of a sudden that's 2-0 in the series, match point scenario for RCS, and the finish line in sight.
That can make it even sweeter right there. 3-pronged attack. The Explorers looking to try and challenge. Breaking out from there. It's a 2-man play, and it works perfectly. So well done off the run-up. It's about 27 seconds or so in that one. A little bit more, but so well done. Look at this. Just a roller. So well. So good.
You have to applaud Sayo for even attempting to go for that.
Right.
It's a terrible angle, so he's probably going to hit it into his own net anyway. But what's the worst that could happen if you don't hit it? Honestly, I was wondering whether it was going to hit the post and go out rather than in, but seemed inevitable to me, and that is a worst case scenario. Make it a double worst scenario as the score line is quickly doubled.
And that's something that we were talking about earlier, right? The attempts to set up a play, you can see it. Swamp Fox, they set the ball up. Hey, let's stop the ball here. Let's try and regroup ourselves. And RCS Explorer said, no, you don't get that option. You don't get that luxury. They steal the goal away. So well done on the run. And now Swamp Fox has had to sit there and go, okay, this is going to speed the pace of the game.
pace of the game is what's being dictated by RCS Explorers, exploring the limits and breaking straight through that press from Swamp Fox Gaming, who are very quickly going to get swamped within their own misery if the goals continue to arrive at this pace.
Oh, man, and there it is again, right? You were talking about the car coming out here trying to prove the naysayers wrong. I think the reason that we had to talk about that before is we were quite literally, I think it was posed by our wonderful producer, Colton, is what cars do we think we're going to see here today? And literally, Relic was the only one to pose a Proteus coming out here. So this is psychic right there.
It's just high school vibes, my friend. High school vibes. I do love some of these older designs, and too often we see Octane's Phoenix, even the Dominus to a certain extent, has faded from memory. So whenever we see these random picks, it is always a treat for my eyes.
Gotta love it, and I mean, styling as well, not just sitting off on the sidelines, right? It feels good for those that maybe play by that namesake. Right now, it's a fourth kick, and straight into the goal it goes. Radio Lamb putting a hat trick on the board.
RCS have very much picked up on an Achilles heel of Swamp Fox Gaming. They have nothing to say in the aerial battle. Now, not to say, of course, that the Explorers themselves are particularly proficient, but they know that these hard and well-hit shots from downtown might as well be on target, and you could get a goal out of it just by virtue of a missed interception via Swamp Fox. That's how we've seen this fourth go in, and Swamp Fox Gaming, they desperately need something now to stop the rot.
And I think that also lends itself to a second part to that kind of following through there in those two goals. You took a look earlier, they had a three-pronged attack going on. They were getting a lot more aggressive after those two goals went through, and all of a sudden Swamp Fox left their pack line open, and it was just a chance that they went for. And that combined, I think, as I agree, the aerial battles is not in their favor right now. Both of those in combination just create a rough scaling, but a huge opportunity for the Explorers.
More backdoor trouble here for the blue team, as the ball scouts out the central circle again and is quickly picked up by the Explorers. He is out superior with a lift into the middle. Lovely meet. Oh, Radial Lamb. What a connection for this shot. It's 5.
80% of the team's goals right now in this game. The Explorers showing off, saying, we are the stars here today. We will continue at this point. It feels much, much closer. They see that finish line inside.
It continues to get worse, but finally, is this the beginning of the redemption tour? TNT chicken on hand to give Swamp Fox a lifeline.
Not a moment too soon, right? You're taking a look at the timer, just crossed that halfway point, 2 minutes, 12 seconds left. If there's any time to start a comeback, it is right now, but of course you want to lay in at least one more, keep it at a 2-goal difference. Right off the rip, you don't want to let that timer tick down ever further, and you can already see it there. Fnatic trying to set up a little bit of wall play, and it works so perfectly. Relic, you read it like a book, and it's a persisting issue now.
Fakes, facades, whatever you want to call it, Radial Lamb finds another. And I imagine that he will continue to find more if Swamp Fox continues to leave it till the last second to try and defend away these potential assists that arrive from either side of their goal mouth, or indeed above their goal mouth. It might seem counterintuitive at first, Orbital. They gotta go more aggressive and put the Explorers under pressure, because there's ice baby for the orange team.
Is it possible to wear two hats and to do two tricks in a game? Radio Lamb said yes, it very much is so. That is going to be a 6th on the board for them. And they're just having a ball here. You can see it, just constant, you can't touch me feeling there. RCHS looking at dominant.
7-1. We call it the Brazil. Not a pretty scoreline at all. And Swamp Fox's duty is now clear. They simply have to deny the meme from finding its resting place with 90 seconds left on this clock. Of course, for the Explorers, they just want more. Why not? Put them into the ground.
Oh, man, they could go for double digits here. I mean, with how fast they were scoring earlier, it's not out of the realm of possibility. That one's just going to slow roll in. Fnatic just grants himself an 8th with 1:15 left on the clock.
Unfortunate disconnect there, I believe, or a controller put down moment for Dynode, whether it was out of exhaustion or whether somebody had distracted them from inside the room. Difficult to tell, but well, there's the only thing difficult about this match to say is to try and find what hope, what shoots of excitement we can talk about here for Swamp Fox Gaming. It's been a disaster from beginning to end. The one flash of brilliance, really, that one goal that went in their favor, but even this, an attempted clearance out to the eastern side. Superior closes it down. No mercy.
Yeah, so good. And now we see the full, I want to say, length and brevity of the explorers, right? They can score from close and from far, and they can identify which one works well, right? We're now seeing up close personal goals used time and time again, and they're gonna roll it in. Fnatic looking like a champ. That is double-digit goals for the Explorers.
And it's at this point that I want to thank and praise Swamp Fox for not caving here. The forfeit button is available. It is a choice that I have seen many a high school team take when they're in this sort of situation. Sometimes even earlier in the match, to be fair, and yet they're still persisting, and that is heartwarming. It's great to see that they've all got each other's backs. They're still trying to work together to find these chances to put away another goal. I mean, heck, if they even score a second and last goal of this game, it's something to hold into, or something to hold on to, I should say. It would be a fresh start, a fresh slate for game number 3. This is a nice one, and the ball somehow ends up going backwards. It's just not their day.
No, it is not. I think they are realizing that they are up against a very strong opponent and just trying to do anything that they can to get a little bit better. I think that's the right call here. You can now see the rest the team of the Explorers looking so good. They're going to go ahead and try and almost set the ball in, but instead it touches the ground. That will be the Explorers winning game 2, 10-1.
Some lovely sportsmanship there from the Explorers to try and give them another goal. 924 score. Look, it's so strange actually that I don't really focus on this so much, because it can be a little bit of a false pretense as to how a particular player's game went, but Radial Lamb at the center of everything good for this Orange team. 6 goals, 2 assists, 6 goals from the 6 shots on target, by the way, 100% conversion rate, whereas the blue team were suffering at the office. Radial Lamb was having a field day.
Radio Lamb had a joy, right? Once again, really stood out as that star player, going beyond exactly what they needed to do. I mean, as we said, 3 goals was last time. That's all they really had, 3, and then they go, oh, no, we can do more. Don't worry, just watch us. And I think that is the theme that we want to watch high school continue to do, which does let us know that, hey, we have some amazing people, allowing us to also go beyond as well. If you're taking a look at the U.S. Army, the Army ROTC, you can go beyond in your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership. As an Army officer, you'll learn to be a decision maker as well as a mentor to others. In any environment, at any skill, is a challenging path, but a choice to be made. Decide to lead, and if you are interested, go ahead and check out the Army ROTC at goarmy.com/ROTC.
Thank you very much to our sponsors. And thank you very much to everyone who's joining us thus far. It might just be the one game left, Orbital, which I think would be a real shame. I'd hate to see it end in a sweep. Nobody ever likes it, apart from the team that is obviously sweeping. And look, it was a blowout in game 2. It is what it is. But let us cast our minds back 5-7 minutes ago, when it was just a 1-goal game, where there were 2 goals on the board for SFG. On another day, it could have been a first game win in this series. They'll be hoping to go away with something. I'm rooting for them.
I want to see them, short the mistake that you were talking about, right? Getting into those aerials, just go for it, right? Have a little bit of confidence, and right there we did see the confidence, but again, get right back into it. Try and space yourselves properly. Try and get that ball under your control. Right now, though, that is a challenge to the front. Goalpost working against Radio Lamb this time.
Strong power play, double demo. It was 2 versus 1. And unfortunately, they've yet to find their rotations again. Swamp Gaming, for the 3rd time in 3 games, it's the Explorers with the go-ahead goal.
Radio Lamb was like, please give me another. I want to tack another goal on, and just no. It was not allowed. The teammates are now fighting over who gets to put it on their scoreboard.
And look, that might actually work in favor of Swamp Fox. It's
Right.
it's that word that very much like Voldemort, we'd rather not utter it. Complacency, Orbital, and it is more prevalent than one would hope for. But even if they are complacent, the Explorers are demonstrating a level above.
And there it goes again, right? I think that's the second one that Radio's gotten stolen away. Is that right? That's
Yes,
the
you're
second
not
one
wrong.
that's been stolen away. give us a third. I want to see a third happen now.
Somebody else has to score. He scored 6 in the last game. Share them around. Sharing is caring after all. We are coming towards that time of the year. Christmas does seem so far away when you're starting a school semester,
Hey.
of course, but
hey! Don't forget my favorite. Don't forget Thanksgiving
I'm
in there. Don't
British.
gloss over that one.
I'm British. Halloween
That's
to us
true.
is like a... Oh yeah, that's the one the Americans like. Guess we'll join in. Why not?
Shots fired, but agreed. Very much agreed there. Gotta agree in this game as well. Sharing is caring at this point. It is forced gratitude, I guess is the best way to put it. Ball's still rolling around in the front. It is now gonna be a second shot, and there we go. Radial, third I should say, their first goal of this game.
Not going to be denied at the third bite of the cherry, are they? But look at this. TNT Chicken's actually quite unfortunate. They make the right action by jumping, because ultimately they've got the best chance to roll on over into the path of the ball. They're just missing that final application of the button, which is to literally perform that roll. Just that one forward motion makes the difference on this occasion. Right down the other end, here's a good chance. It's smushed up against the backboard, and the Explorers are comfortably going to palm this one away. Or
Yes,
are they?
they are superior. Even trying to set it up here. The ball gets hit. It's going to be rolled out. Swamp Monster is looking for a chance. Or Swamp Foxes, I believe, setting themselves up for a chance at a goal once again. But still, the opportunity was there and no longer available.
A couple of moments here where Swamp Foxes have to think a little smarter, predict where the ball's going to go rather than where the ball is. This is some decent defense. The ball chipped over the bar, but because of that earlier demo, there's no third player to put it home. Nice administrative work in the defense from the Explorers.
Showing off their own, and now a simple pass and go. Radioland gifted a second, just meters in front of that open net.
It's just clicking. It's just clicking. After a lovely defensive press outwards to launch into a counterattack right down the other side of the pitch with pace, understanding that at least one Swamp Fox member is still looking for Boost to do something with. Oh, that glance is just wide. RCS close to a fifth, and I think with a fifth, it would almost certainly be game over.
At this rate, I think it was deja vu, if you will. They had 5 at this time, and then they went on to score about 5 more. So just keep that one in mind. RCS, the Explorers are very much saying, we have not explored all of what this game has to offer just yet. Out superior, out of speed. Unfortunately, it's going to possibly gift that ball over a fight over the corner, a little bit of a tussle, and a boot out to the side of RCS.
Just a little bit of panic. Just a little bit of panic from Swamp Fox on these clearances and on these passes and on these shots. There were a couple of moments in game number 1 where they took their time, where they went for a solo effort, and when people love throwing themselves into the ball, as I've seen Explorers doing a couple of times, just out of the excitement to win a challenge, sometimes it does bear fruit to just, say, hey, let's do something a little bit different. And speaking of, an aerial play, a challenge 1 leading to a goal. What universe is this, Swamp Fox?
The one where they got out of the swamp. They played it very well. You could even see sneaking right past that defender. Well done there. And we did say, no matter what, Swamp Foxes, we did hope to see glimmers no matter what. And I think that is a huge benefit of playing sometimes, is having that mental fortitude to, no matter the odds, no matter what it looks like, to fight to the bitter end.
As slim as it might seem, chat, there is a chance. But not if more demos arrive on the scene. Explosives out in full force. Radioland waiting. Wow, a rare miss on an open net. If there has ever been a warning shot to indicate smarten up your axe, that was it. But another demo. I adore this from the Explorers because it's the complete opposite of complacency. Orbital, they're ensuring that Swamp Foxes don't have a sniff of a chance.
I mean, that was that was it in a nutshell. Exactly what you said, coming to fruition after the demos occurred. No one really in position, and because of that, it is picked up so well done, so easily, if you will.
An executive decision has been made by the Explorers. We are not dropping a single game. No clean sheets in either of those games, but hey, what's the problem if you score a ton? And this is all good practice for the weeks on their way. We're only in week 1, the activation week for High School Esports League. I think everybody in this conference better watch out for the RCS Explorers, sorry.
Of course, and not just that, a huge hand to RCS. You were talking about complacency, and I also like to throw out the word ego sometimes. You get to see some players, get a little bit ego, start playing on their own, and then things quickly spiral out of hand. The level of respect that they are giving to their opponents as well, yes, we see a little bit of a flub here and there, but overall still treating SFG like they can come back at a moment's notice, even with the time running down. Huge props to the Explorers as well. Right now, though, they are just racking up 20 seconds left, 21 on the clock. 7-1. Do they break above 10 like they said, like they did in game 2?
7th heaven. Going back to their roster orbital. 6. That's the number of players who are signed up for the Swamp Foxes, for example, I believe. Indeed it is. It's just the 4 for the RCS Explorers. So the RCS Explorers know that this is what they've got to deal with for the rest of the season. Better make a good impression on your teammates now. For the Swamp Foxes, they might very well go for differing combinations, but I've loved these moments between TNT Chicken, between Dynode, moments where Dynode in particular seems to be having a lot more success aerially than the rest of his teammates. For the coaches, for the team as a whole, they'll be looking at the positives that can be, albeit stretched to, still reached from this series. There are still positives to go away and work upon moving forward. Obviously a couple of flaws which they got to address as well, but make no mistake about it. RCS Explorers looking handy, looking strong, keeping their heads until the very end. A well-deserved sweep.
Of course, and it was one that I thoroughly enjoyed. The fact that this is the activation of the East, and it is going to be a treat to see if Swamp Foxes can climb back up, because of course this is just the start, right? There are so many more games to be played. As you said, so many players. Yes, these players are vying for their positions, but I think that also breeds and forces innovation, forces improvement out. So I'm excited to see if the Swamp Fox Gaming crew are able to bounce back, get some good wins on the board, and see how much they improve further on. The Explorers, though, I mean, they're hacking away. They're swamping out all the swamp. They're turning it into a pond, and they're saying, it's ours. Just, we're okay here.
And the different conferences that you will encounter so many different teams. For all we know, out of this group of teams, RCS Explorers could be one of the top ones. They could be going to playoffs, finding themselves in the top 4, and all of a sudden, this result looks a lot better for the Swamp Foxes than it does. This is kind of the weird thing about week 1. Like, obviously, nobody wants to lose 2 games with at least 5 goals between the 2 squads, but, you got time, guys. You got time, and the most important thing for yourselves is to improve as people, to improve as teammates, and to hopefully improve your Rocket League so that by the end of the semester, you can look back and be proud on just how far you came.
Of course, and that, I think, is something that we will look forward to as well. We had a lot of fun here on the broadcast. We enjoyed ourselves, a little bit of Rocket League action. Good 3-0 coming out from the RCS Explorers. Swamp Foxes, we hope to see you next time and hopefully have some improvement to go. We'll go ahead and say goodbye here. Again, this has been Orbital with Relic on the broadcast as well, with Colton on production. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day.